6:33 now on a Thursday morning, and efforts to reduce the federal government continue. Starting today, the IRS plans to lay off thousands of probationary workers.
Our Marcella Robertson will have more on that in just a few moments. But first, I want to break down the latest efforts by President Trump and Elon Musk. First up, the Department of Government Efficiency claims it saved taxpayers $55 billion. But those numbers are not adding up. Including in that number was $8 billion in savings through a canceled contract. The contract was actually worth only $8 million. The department's website updated the contract's amount, but did not change the $55 billion total. Second, the U.S. military has been ordered to prepare for major cuts according to a memo. The proposed cuts will happen over the next 5 years. The proposed cuts to the Pentagon's $850 billion budget are due by Monday.
Finally, at least 700 workers from the CDC have been fired. That's since Friday. Firings have been happening at several federal agencies, of course, as we just mentioned, including the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes of Health. All right, let's get back now to the layoffs that are happening at the IRS. We have been reporting thousands of workers with the Internal Revenue Service are expected to be laid off today. It's happening right in the thick of tax season. Our Marcella Robertson is on Capitol Hill with more.
Well, it is unclear right now how those layoffs and cuts will impact tax season, but we know that about 7,000 IRS employees are expected to be laid off later today. That is according to the Associated Press. Now, we have been covering these federal worker layoffs and cuts across all government agencies for the last couple of weeks. And later this morning, some of those federal workers are expected to be here on Capitol Hill to talk to lawmakers, hoping that they will step in to try to stop some of the Trump administration's efforts to cut the federal workforce. Now, I want to go back to the IRS for a second and talk about why that is so important. It is the latest organization facing massive cuts by the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk. And here's why this matters. These layoffs, they come despite IRS workers originally being told they could not accept that federal buyout offer until after this year's tax filing season was over. So again, exactly how these cuts will now impact your tax returns, that is still unknown. Meantime, other federal workers who have already been laid off, they are pushing back. From the Department of Education to the Department of Energy, some of those workers protested last night outside SpaceX offices. They say they are concerned about the future of government services with these massive layoffs.
These are extremely important services that these workers are administering, our national parks, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, things like that. And you can't just get rid of thousands of workers and expect that the services will remain.
I was kind of shocked. I mean, in a sense, we knew this was coming. We were hoping they were going to do it with more of a scalpel than a sledgehammer.
And again, the plan here later this morning is for federal workers to go from Senate office to Senate office to talk to lawmakers pushing for action. That is set to start at 10 o'clock this morning. Reporting on Capitol Hill, Marcella Robertson, WUSA 9.
And you heard Marcella talk about a probationary worker. In fact, we've been hearing that a lot with these layoffs. Just for clarification, a federal worker is typically on a probationary period for a year. Some agencies and some positions, though, that probationary period could last up to 2 years.